Okay, yes. So I think the recording is in session now. So, guys, welcome back to today's online session once again. So today I'm going to be taking you guys through certain essential plugins you would have to make your life very easy as a sorry as a as an upcoming UI designer or even a pro. That if you can pros in like 3 to 4 months. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and then show you guys. So if you remember clearly, I asked these guys I asked you guys to download a couple of plugins some time back, and I think they were hot fonts, Visbag, Image Eye, and then also screenshots. So I'm going to show you guys how to be using these plugins today. Okay, so then the very first plugin or Chrome extension, sorry, I'll be showing you guys is the hot font Chrome extension. These guys are now joining. So you can see this is the button. Sorry. So this is the button for the Chrome extension. It's called hot font. So basically, what font does for you is that it helps you to identify the typefaces or the fonts which have been used on a particular website. So you can access your plugins by clicking on this button over here, and then you look for the name of the Chrome extension. So in our case, we are going to be using what font. So when you click on what font, you come to whichever website you are on, and then you click on a particular text. Okay, now you see it shows you the typeface which is being used, the style, the font weight, the size of the text being used on the website, the line height, and then even the color of the text. So now what this helps you to do is that whenever you are designing a website, you know that there are certain standardized uh, text sizes that you should be using. Like you should not be using um, a typeface or a font size of 200 pixels on a website, because even a company as prominent as Uber has used 52 pixels for their website. Okay, now you can go ahead to inspect a couple of other guys, guys. You can go ahead to inspect a couple of other fonts or typefaces on the website. So now you can inspect this one, then you can see that the size of this is 14 pixels. The reason why I'm taking you guys through this process is that per your subsequent assignments, I would want you guys to be using standardized font sizes. As in, if I should ask you guys to be using to design the hero section of the Uber website for this instance, I would want you guys to be using these font sizes. So you come and then you inspect every um font or typeface on the website. You inspect, you find out the sizes, their line heights, their weights, and then even their colors. Let me admit these guys. Yeah. So you just come, you keep on inspecting, and then you note them down so that once you start designing, you know that you are going to be needing these font sizes at the back of your head or your minds. So the next plugin I'm going to be introducing you guys to is the Visbag plugin. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have already installed it, but this is a very powerful plugin that helps me a lot when I'm designing. So when you click on Visbag, you see that this side panel slides in. Okay, this is the ruler or the guides, should I say tool. And what this does for you is that it helps you to inspect the spacing around. Okay, let me exit this one. A second, refresh. Okay, perfect. So yeah, what this does for you is that it helps you to inspect certain elements on your screen or on a particular website which you are on. And trust me, these dimensions or these guidelines have been carefully thought through by professionals at Uber. So they have a reason why they use certain sizes for certain elements on their website. Okay, so now you're able to tell the spacing or the amount of padding or margin between elements on a particular website. A second, let me admit this, guys. If you want to find out how the difference between the this main text and then the subtext beneath it is 24 pixels. Now, once again, the reason I'm taking you guys through this is that when I asked you guys to design this hero section, I would want you guys to use the same spacing guidelines which have been used over here. Okay. So now if you want to find out the distance between this button and then the text beneath it, it's 43 pixels. And I'm going to be showing you guys how to do this. So don't, I don't know, don't bother yourself so much yet. And it tells you the spacing between all the buttons at the top. So if you just joined the call, I'm introducing you guys to how the VisBack Chrome extension is used, the one I asked you guys to download. Okay, so there are lots of tools over here, and I'll leave it for you guys to explore. There's the margin tool, which you can use to inspect the margin around elements of your artboards or the websites on which you are browsing. Okay, and then there is a padding. So padding allows you to inspect the amount of inner space which your elements have taken in a particular frame. So we'll get to that in a bit when we jump straight into Figma. Yes, and then the next two I'm going to be introducing you guys to is the Image Eye. The Image Eye plugin. This is also a very powerful tool. So I think I asked you guys to install both Image Downloader and then Image Eye. Now, the reason why I use both uh, tools is that, or both extensions is that there may be times where this image downloader is going to give you access to quite a lot of images that this wouldn't. And then there may be instances where this would give you much more images that you wouldn't get for this. Now, what these extensions does for you is that, um, sorry, what these extensions do for you is that they help you to download all the assets and images being used on a particular website. So for instance, we want to replicate this Uber hero section exactly in on our Figma artboards. When you click on the image downloader, you can see that the image used in the background of the website has been provided over here. Icons that were used, uh, the icons that were used have also been provided for you over here, and then a couple of other assets, I would say. Now, check out the number of elements this other Chrome extension is going to generate for us. So you can see this has generated quite more number of assets than the previous plugins. You might want to be using them interchangeably as time goes on because you never know, I mean, when which one of them will come through for you. So yeah, I would advise you guys to be using both of them as time goes on. I'm trying to admit your friends, okay? That is why what this is happening. So yes, so we are going to jump straight into Figma and try as much as possible to replicate what we have over here, okay? So let's refresh. So we have all our assets ready. Great. And then one plugin I introduced you guys to in class was the Awesome Screenshots plugin. Now, what Awesome Screenshot does for you is that it tells you to take a screenshot of whichever website you are on. For instance, if I want to take a, for instance, if I want to take a screenshot of this current page that I'm on, I'm just going to select visible part. But if I want to take a screenshot of the entire website, then you just click on full page. If you want to take a screenshot of a selected area, you just click on this and then you snip it out into your Figma file. But for the relevance of today's session, I'm going to be taking a screenshot of what we can see. That is just the visible part again. So you click on visible part. Then you can see the awesome screenshot as taking a screenshot for us. You copy this, you click on the copy button over here, you move straight to your Figma platform. And in this case, I've taught you guys how to create pages. So you just add a new page and go like lab session to online. So I've created a new page. Great. So I've created a new page if you are wondering what I just did. Now you paste the screenshots. Sorry about that. Now you paste the screenshots of what you just copied over here like this. Let me do this so you guys can see this clearly. Okay, it's great. So now, once again, if you're wondering what just happened, I just took a screenshot of the Uber Hero section using the awesome screenshots plugin, which I asked you guys to download earlier. So now we proceed to try and replicate this. Now, for those who also missed the class, we mentioned we made mention of a concept called wireframing. Okay, now what wireframing does is that it helps you to create like a low version or like a low fidelity of what your website is most likely to look like. So for a page like this, a wireframe of such a page is going to be of this sort. Let me quickly replicate it for you guys. So basically, you just have to represent your elements with grayscale items, nothing colorful, just black and white, gray and ash, stuff like that. Those are low fidelity wireframes. So if we were to replicate something of this sort, we are going to have something like this for our wireframes. Something like this over here. Then a second. So if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm basically just drawing rectangles on the screen, which you guys are professionals are doing. Um, Something of this sort. You can see we have a button over here. Just represent the button with grayscale, and then you create some more rectangles over here. You can duplicate certain elements on your Figma artboard by pressing Ctrl D. If you are using a Mac, it's Command D. So you just hit Ctrl D and then your item gets duplicated for you. You hit it again and then it duplicates once again. Awesome. So yeah. So if we were to have represented this website with a wireframe, it's going to be something as simple as this. Nothing fancy, nothing serious. It just helps you to visualize how your website is going to look like in the long run. So let me change this color and do some yes. So nothing fancy like I said once again. So yeah, we are going to be replicating this hero section of Figma today in class. I mean like this online session. So let's jump straight into that. So now we are going to be making very good use of the extensions I made you guys download. Now the first one we have utilized now is the awesome screenshots, which you use to take a screenshot of the website or the page you would want to download. Now we proceed to create an artboard of, of size. I mean, I've taught you guys how to create an artboard of size 1920 by 1920. So when you click on the F button on your keyboard, you navigate to the presentation section and then you click on slide. Admit, admit a second. Okay, great. So yes, um, So the first thing we are going to be doing is that we are going to draw a frame. Let me quickly scale this down. You can see. Okay, perfect. So first of all, we are going to be downloading our assets from this web page. Now, this includes every asset we are going to be needing to download this hero section. So once again, when you navigate to your Chrome extensions tab, you click on the image downloader, and then you can choose to download everything that is on the page. So you can select everything over here, and then you tell it to save to a subfolder, and then probably just name it something like Uber website. Yes, and then you just hit the download button, and it's going to download the assets for you. Admit this one. Great. So our assets have been downloaded for us. So now when we come back here, looking at the design we have, we first of all have to design our navigation section or our navigation bar. Yeah. So we first of all have to design our navigation bar. And like I mentioned in class, you should be using frames instead of rectangles. Okay. So then we design, you hit the F button on your keyboard to design a frame. So you design a frame like this. And then you hit the fill button over here just to fill the frame which you have created or to give it a color. Now we use this eyedropper icon to select the exact color that Uber used in their design. So in this case, it was a black. Then we type out whatever they typed over here. So you can click on the frame over here. You hit T on your keyboard, or you can just navigate to this section, press the T button, click on the frame, and then you type out the Uber. So something like this. Great. And before we even proceed, if you carefully looked at how the Visbag plugin works, you can tell that it it gives you the distance, okay, of the oh crap. So yes, it gives you the margin, okay, between the elements of your of your design. So in this case, I don't know if you guys can see, but the distance between this section and then the edges of our artboard is 136 pixels. Okay. So then you may want to create layout grids just for consistency's sake. So how we create layout grids is you click on this button, layout grid, click on this, select columns. Okay. And then the margin that we have over here is 136 pixels. So you input 136 over here. And then you see now we have a spacing of 136 from perfect. So now once again, if you're wondering what I just did, I used the alt button or the alternate button. If you're using a Mac, it's the option button to check the distance between my elements and then the edges of my artboard. So now we have 136 over here. So we come back and then we check. So there's Uber, there's company, there's safety, and then there's help. Now we come back. The Uber is, if you notice clearly, the Uber is slightly bigger than the other text. So once again, we duplicate this element by pressing Ctrl D or Command D if you're using a Mac, and then you type out company. So once again, you can come back and then use the what font. You can come back and then use the what fonts plugin to let me refresh this. Now you can use the word font plugin to check the accurate text size of the elements you are trying to replicate. So in this case, the size of the text that we want to replicate is 14 pixels. It has a line height of 16 px, 16 pixels. It has a font weight of normal and 500. So you inspect the other elements to see if they are all of the same size. Now you inspect that of Uber as well, and you can see Uber has the size of the Uber logo is a 24 pixels. Okay, so aside this one, the other ones are 14, 14, 14. So now you come back, you readjust the size of your text by using this section. Let me admit. Great. So the size of the Uber text was a 24 pixels. So you just type 24 over here. The sizes of these were 14 each. So you type 14 over here as well. So when you come back, there's Uber, there's company, there's safety, and then there's help. All you have to do is replicate this. Sorry about that. Replicate this. You type in safety, and then there is help. Once again, you come back and then you use your VisBag plugin to inspect the distance between the elements. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can see, but the distance between each of them is 24. So now you go back and then you select multiple elements by holding shift on your keyboard, and then you select the 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 elements. Okay. So hold on, let me admit these guys. Great. So once you select these three elements, the space in between them was 24 pixels each. Once again, if you're wondering what I just did, I hit Shift A on my keyboard to create an auto layout. Now, the concept of auto layout is a very broad one. So today, bear with me and just follow along. Okay, so once I've selected these one, sorry, the company is wrong. So once I've selected 1, 2, and 3 by holding Shift on my keyboard and then clicking on the elements, I hit Shift A to create an auto layout. Now, if you can see, I want the distances of my in between of my elements to be 24 pixels each. So you can do so over here by sliding, or you can just input it over here. So you have 24, and then now they are evenly spaced. So we have safety help. I'm just going to be doing these ones so you don't have to stress much. So there's E and there's product, there's login, and then there's sign up. So once again, when you come here, there's EN, duplicate, there's product, there's login, and then there's sign up. Okay. Now, once again, when you come here, you can use your VisBar plugin to inspect the distances between these elements. So check closely. So you know what? Using the VisBar plugin, you would have to follow every dimension to detail. Okay, but then for us to speed up, I'm just going to be using random spacing. Okay, so that you guys get it faster. And then when you go back, you can work on doing the exact things using the VisBar plugin. Okay, so then there's sign up. Now you realize the sign up is a button that has a field section. Okay, and then now we can round the corners. So you can do this by simply hitting Shift A on your keyboard. A second. Shift A on your keyboard, and then you create a frame around it or an auto layout. You fill it, and then you color this white. Let's change the color of our text to black so you don't get confused. Great. And let me turn off the grid so you guys see things clearly. So layout grid. Sorry. Okay, exactly. So now if you want to round the corners of your button, this is where you do that. Okay, so you can use something like 20 and go 40. Okay, and then we are good to go. So like I said, the distance of our element and to the edges of our dashboard to our artboard was 134 pixels. So we do same for what is on the left, and then we do same for what's on the right. So now we come here and then we see that we have already defined our grid section. So we just align it over here so it snaps. Okay, great. So let's align these like this. Let me do this. Yeah, so now we've got our navigation bar down designed. I don't know if you guys can see, but let me turn this off. Great. So this is how our page is looking like now. So when we go back, now we would want to insert this image. Okay, this exact image which Uber has used. Now we would want to insert this exact image that Uber has used on their website. So what we have to do next is that we create a new frame over here. A new frame over here. Now you can decide to fill it just so that you know where you are or like what you are about to insert. Okay. So you just do something like this to distinguish itself from the main artboard, which was initially white. So you can just color it any random color of your choice. Now we go back and then we look for the image we just downloaded. See if I can find that. See if I can find that over here. So downloads. Okay. So perfect. So yeah, so this is the image. I don't know if you guys can see, but this is the image we downloaded, or this is the image Uber used on their website. So you just hit Control C. I know you guys know how to copy and paste. So you copy whatever asset you have here. You navigate your PC to your Figma artboard, and then you just select the frame, this one, and then you hit Control V to paste it. Now you can see the image has uh, overflown or it has extended its boundaries. So what we can do is you hit the K button on your keyboard to scale. I taught you guys in class the last time. So now we scale the image down to what Uber has used. Okay, so let's try and replicate it. So you bring it down a little bit. Yeah, great. So because we are trying to replicate what we have here, let's bring our frame downwards a little bit, just so we know we are aligned. So, like I said, once again, when I ask you guys to go and replicate what I've done over here, I would want you guys to replicate the same thing to detail. Okay, so now we've been able to download the image that Uber used on their website. Now, what do we do next? We proceed to design the section, and this is how you go about that. So, like I said, no rectangles on your artboards, just frames. So now you come here, you hit F on your keyboard. So if you want to know that, if you want to check whether you are not exceeding the boundaries of the margins you set for your artboard, you hit you click on this section. Now you come back and then you turn on your grid, your layout grid. You hit the F button on your keyboard to create a frame. You zoom into, sorry. So you fill your frame with a color. So in our case, white. Now, you know what? Another smart way you guys can approach this is duplicate the frame you just created. Okay. And then you come and paste it on the screenshot you took. So now you try and get it exactly as it is. I mean, the exact size of your frame. What another smart thing you can also do is to basically decrease the opacity. So something of this sort, so that once you get the exact edges, you know you are safe. Great. So now you can copy this, come back to your artboard, and then you paste it here, and we increase the opacity to 100 again. Now we've actually been able to get the exact size of frame that Uber used on their website. Now we proceed to do other smart stuff. So I still have the frame over here. So I try and get the exact length of this section as well. I copy it. I copy it. I come back to my artboard. A second. I mean, because the section is being recorded, I'm sure you guys can follow my mouse pointer to make some of the decisions. Okay. So we try and color this section just so we can distinguish it from what we had earlier. Great. So snap. And then, so I'm going to be designing the very simple parts so that with the sections that include icons, I'll do that at the very latter stage. Now you come back to your actual website, you access your plugins, and then you look for what fonts. Now we want to get the exact font size of this text that Uber used on their website. Now we have uh, the size is 52 pixels. It has a line height of 64 pixels, and the color is a full black, no shade. So now you come back to your artboard over here. You come back to your artboard over here. You hit the key text on your keyboard, and then you type out what was over there. So get in the driver's seat and get page. Okay. Let me scale this for now so you guys can see. It's in the driver's seat and get page. So I don't know if you guys recall, but the size of this was 52 pixels. The line height was 64. So you come back to your Figma artboard, you just input 52 over here because that was what Uber used. And the line height was, we go back and then we check again. The line height was 64 pixels. So now you come back, then you type 64 over here. I'm going to bolden it a little bit because that is what they also have. Now, you know what? You don't have to be stressing much. You can, sorry, you can just copy this text. It says, well, drive on the platform with the largest network, blah, blah, blah. Once again, you use your what font extension to check out what the font size of that text was. Sorry, that's the 16 pixels. And you come back and then you paste it. Now it was a 16 pixels. You change your size over here. The font width was normal. In our case, we use regular. Then we have it over here. The line height was 24 pixels. So you have to inspect almost every element on the website, which I will ask you guys to clone. So it could be Netflix, it could be Bolt, it could be Apple's website. Just try your possible best to clone it to detail. Yes, so once again, the line height was 24 pixels. We go back and we insert 24 over here. Like I said, you have to be using the Chrome extensions I made you guys download interchangeably. So now we are going to be needing the help of the VisBag plugin to check the distance. Sorry, I'll exit this first. So now we want to check the distance between the text. Okay, so now the distance between this main text and then this subtext is 24 pixels. You can do so by using Alt button on your keyboard. So when you select this text, use the Alt button or the Option button if you are using a Mac, and then you check the distance. So it was 24, right? So we go a few steps upwards. So now, I like I mentioned, I was going to teach you guys the whole concept of auto layout, but you can start grasping certain tricks from using it. So you can select this by holding Shift, and then you select this as well, and then you hit Shift A on your keyboard, and then you now form an auto layout. You can simply input 24 over here, and then you have an equal spacing of 24. So you don't have to be pushing your mouse or your arrow buttons on your keyboard all the time. So we are making headway. Now we check the distance between this text and then the button we have over here, and that is also 30 pixels. Now we come back, you hit T on your keyboard, and then the text in the button says sign up. You type your sign up, hit Shift A on your keyboard to form an auto layout. Fill the frame with a color. So it could be red, it could be any color, but in our case, over here, it's a black button. Okay, so it says sign up to drive. So we are not even done. So sign up to drive. The color of the button was a black. The color of our text was a white. So you do that over here. So black. That's a full black. Great. It has rounded corners. So we also round our corners a little bit over here by clicking on this button. Let me admit your meet a second. Great. So we round the corners over here to say probably 24 if it's too much. So 12 is also too much. We go with 8. 8 is even too much. So we go with 4. Great. Now, once again, use the Alt button on your keyboard to inspect the distance between your elements. So in our case, it's supposed to be a 30 pixels distance, but now we have 45. Once again, you can hold this. You can press Shift on the keyboard, select this, still holding Shift, select this. Now you hit Shift E to create an auto layout, and then the distance between them was a 30. So you do that adjustment nicely. You come back, the distance between the button and then this text is 43, as you can clearly see. Now you um, let me refresh this just so I can copy this. Great. So now you come and type learn about blah blah blah. Use your hot font extension to check the font size. It's 16 pixels. It has a line height of 62. You come back and then you check, okay, 16 pixels. That's a line height of 42. Make that adjustment as well. Now the distance between the button and then this text was 43. Once again and nicely, you select the two elements, you hit Shift A, or you can simply just click this over here to add an auto layout, and then you type in 43. If you watch closely, the learn more about blah 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 was underlined. You click on this, you hit Control U, just to underline. Let me admit this guy. Sure. So you hit Control U, and then now you can see we are making headways. So we are literally almost done with our hero section for the Uber website, with the section of these over here. So now you come and inspect. Let me use the ruler. So you inspect the distances between these elements in the frame. Okay. So you come back to your Figma. As, see, to start with, let's check the distance between the text and then this. So you can see that the distance between the text and then the upper part is 48. Both left and right sides are also 48. So you come back, you hold the option button or the alt button on your keyboard to check the distance of both sides. So in this case, it was a 48. So we go a little bit up and then we have that. So yes, and then inside of these, you have to create three frames. Like I said, no rectangles. So you create frames, three frames of equal spacing. Let me check that again. 87 pixels. And then you even have to check the distance between. So, like I said, when I asked you guys to replicate a particular website, because these are standard dimensions that Uber used, replicating it would actually help you a lot so that whenever you set out to design whichever website you want to design for your semester projects, you are going to be used to or accustomed to certain standard dimensions or guidelines which are being used on very prominent websites. So the distance between this frame and then the edges of its inner frame is a 44 pixels. So now we come back, we create a frame by hitting F on our keyboard. We create a frame inside of this frame. Now we can fill it with a color and let's give it a very dark gray just so it can stand out. Now you check the distance once again by holding out on your keyboard and then you check the distance. In our case over here, it was a 44, I think. Yes, so we have to go. So I'm sure you guys can see very clearly. I apologize for the inconvenience. My network had a little disruption. So yeah, when we go back, we have drive or deliver. We center this over here. Now once again, you use your, where is this? A second. Yes. So once again, you use your hot font plugin, okay, to check for the size this this text. Now you can see over here we have 14 pixels, which is quite smaller than what we had initially. Okay. So you come back, you insert 14 over here, and then there's an icon. So I remember clearly I made you guys download a plugin called Iconly. So you're going to be needing that now. So you hit over here, you navigate to your plugin section, and then you search for Iconly or Iconify. I want to see Iconify today. So when you run a plugin, the the icon we have over here is, I think, a signal bar. So you just search for signal bar. Uh, so you just so we can finish very fast, I'm going to be using anyone. So let's import this icon over here. Then you have it like this. Sweet. Um, yeah. So drive or deliver. No. Okay, sure. And then if you watch closely as well, it has this stroke beneath it. Now, what I realized in your previous assignments was that most of you were drawing rectangles for your strokes. Now, here is an easy way to do that. So when you select the stroke button over here, there's this icon that indicates, so you can see a stroke has been added to all four sides of the frame. Now you can see that when you click on this, okay, you now have the option to select wherever I want your stroke to settle. So now in our case over here, we want the stroke to be settled at the bottom. So you just select this, you make it a little bit weight here, like say 3, and then you are good to go. So let's change the color of this to what we have here. Change the color of this to black. Yeah, so there's drive or deliver, there's eat, and then there's ride. So like I said, you would have to check for the dimensions between the elements before you proceed to duplicate or you proceed to do the other elements. So you come here, you check the distance between them, and then that is what 87 pixels. So you come back, you duplicate this, duplicate it again. Let me make them an open layout. And then it was 84, if my memory serves me right. Okay, yeah, great. So now this was heat, then this was ride. Okay, so ride. Now we replace our icons. You navigate over here, plugins, iconify, then you run it. Now I think we have eat. So let me look for eat. You have quite a number of icons you could use. So, like I said, just so we could finish this very fast, let's replace it with this. By taking second, let me set it here instead. So I'm replacing this icon with the one I just downloaded. So eat and then there's a ride, I think. So search for ride. First, let me just do car. Wait, and you import this over here. Control X. Sorry. Wait, so there's ride, yes, this ride is deliver, and then there's eat. So color this a little bit whitish. That is white. Yeah. So I'm making some final touches to the design just in case you're wondering what is going on. So do you have everything in place? Let me just refresh this quickly. In the private Uber company, they sign up. So let me explain this so you guys can see clearly. So yes, so with the help of sorry, okay, we've been able to replicate the hero section to some extent. Okay, I just realized the button needs a little bit more spacing around it. So once again, when you go, please play around with the tools, with the plugins and the extensions I asked you guys to download. Now we want to check the padding of this button. So it has 25, 14, and 25. So we come here. The horizontal pattern was 25. And then it was 14 for the vertical. Maybe 14. So like I said, when I come to your artboard and then I'm inspecting your elements, I already know the dimensions which were used on these websites or which were featured on the websites. So once I inspect your element and I realize for this button, for instance, you used something like this, and then you did something like this. Okay. I quickly know that you didn't follow the dimensions to detail, and then you'll be penalized for that. Okay. So yes, so basically that's for today's class. So I've taught you guys how to use the extensions and then the plugins to replicate websites. Okay, so there's going to be an assignment, a very simple one. So like I said, you guys would have to utilize the concepts of frames and uh, yes, of frames instead of rectangles, your text, your plugins, what fonts, color picker, image downloader, and stuff like that. So I want you guys to this as part of your assignment. I'm sure you guys would rewatch the video. So as part of your assignment, I want you guys to redesign um, this for me. So you can just type Best Buy in your URL tab, navigate your, I mean, just select Canada or United States, whichever is your favorite. And then I know some of you may be wondering how you are going to get access to the elements. If you joined earlier, all you have to do is to use the image downloader over here, and then it downloads almost all the assets on that particular image for you. So you don't have to worry about getting the images on the website. Like this one is downloading, there are over 301 images. That's John has raised his hand. So John, you can type your question in there. You hold on, let me just unmute you guys. Yeah, John, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Hello, sir. We have an assignment that is due 11:59. So this one with best by
No, the
well.
deadline for this is on Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday before the class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all you have to do is to create a new page in your Figma file. Quickly, let me show you. So you create a new Figma file and then you type lab section 2 assignment. Okay. You create your artboard and stuff like that. Now, once again, you may be wondering how to get a screenshot. I'll show you guys. Use the awesome screenshots plugin. Just design the hero section, nothing more. I didn't ask you guys to design the full thing, just this section. Take a screenshot of the visible part, you copy it, you go to your Figma workspace, you paste it, and then you start designing. You have the assets available to you, Kindketsy, these two plugins. So you can try any of them, both image downloader and then image eye, whichever one you want to use. Download the asset and then make your designs. So looking at this, you can tell you are going to be utilizing frames, just an image, text. Use the hot fonts plugin to inspect the exact font sizes and then the line heights. For me, you come here, this is 16, this is 16, this is a little bit smaller, so 14 exactly. This is a little bit smaller, this is 12, you see, and what's not in, yeah. You can also use the VisBag plugin to inspect the spacing between elements over here, the text, stuff like that. So yeah, when I come to your Figma file, I'll be looking for these dimensions to check whether you follow them to detail. Yeah, so I think that is all for today's class. That's what I wanted to. Yeah, Nana, okay, you can speak.
Okay, sir. Please, I wanted to ask if before we do the cloning, we have to do the low fidelity wireframe before we do the cloning of the actual site.
So that is a very good question. So if you ask me, for your own good, try and do a low fidelity wireframe before you actually proceed to make the actual design, because for your end of semester project, whichever high fidelity designs you are going to be producing, a wireframe is going to be required of you. So just so you can um, make yourself abreast with uh, the design of wireframes, I would entreat you to create a low fidelity wireframe. Yeah, Benedicta, you can unmute yourself. I hope I've answered you, Nana. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Please, when is the deadline for the semester, end of semester project?
So it's around July 29th or so. So it's like the very latter part of July. So you guys have about 2 months here to complete everything.
Hello, David.
Okay, and
If,
also, and also, hello,
yeah.
Benedicta,
hello.
the
Yeah, and
deadline is on
also,
the file I sent. The file I uploaded on Sakai has the details you're asking for, so please check it.
Okay.
say, also, do we have to create an existing project, or we have to develop our own?
We'll be discussing your topics that you have chosen in class, like I mentioned on Tuesday. So at that point, you will know whether what you're talking about is accepted to be feasible or not. My concern here is about the feasibility of the work, because you're not just designing, you're actually going to develop. So we will make sure not to overburden you with any project you have picked, which we think will be too much to do. So we'll have that discussion when we meet as to whether it's new, it's not new, and all that. We'll have that interaction on Tuesday.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so if there are any further questions, you can feel free to ask, and then we'll do well to answer you guys. So the recording of today's session will be made available to you hopefully by the close of today. So you can rerun through and then follow closely. So yeah, if there are no further questions, I think that's all for today. And thank you guys for making time to join today's session. Do also enjoy the rest of your weekend, and please again, go and practice more. You can, so even if you are done with this Best Buy and then you feel you really want to get very good at this, you can proceed to designing the Netflix website. Just go click on Netflix. You have all the plugins available for you. If you're wondering how to get the image over here, use the image downloader. You can have this image at the background. Use your extensions to inspect the elements you have over here, and then you can clone a lot of sites. What I want for you guys is probably to become really good at this UI UX thing, and then land a very good role or future career somewhere as a very big company, designing intuitive products and stuff like that. So yeah, you can only become very good at this by practice. Okay, so every Saturday you can decide to clone a website in your Figma file and in your personal Figma file. You keep on practicing, and trust me, you're going to be very good at this. So yeah, thank you very much once again, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.
Bye. Bye.